Why not? Just
Welcome to Chozer Teshuvah Express. This is a special episode just once for Dan.
for that, yes.
Doing the best we can.
What's nice about today is that we had, for the first time, somebody that comes that's a professional with the camera.
Yeah.
And he showed us that we're doing everything wrong. And that's nice. It's nice to start out the week. It's Motzei Shabbat now, guys, right? It's nice to start out knowing that you did everything wrong. So as a Baal Teshuvah or a Chozer Teshuvah, like you were saying,
that, yeah.
he doesn't like the word Baal Teshuvah because he says he's still working on it.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about it. Tell us about what does a typical Shabbat look like. I would like to start from there.
Okay, so basically, we are I always say, I saw a bumper sticker one time and it said, no matter what time Shabbos comes in, we'll always be late.
It's true.
Okay?
It's true.
And it's like, the thing that, and my wife, I hope she watches this, and I'm saying this with love, Olga, the thing that one of my biggest pet peeves, it'll be like 20 minutes to candle lighting. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the time, recently I haven't been as much, but a lot of the time I make Shabbat food. So I'm cooking and I'm finishing up. I'm wrapping up.
My wife doesn't see that.
and I'm wrapping up 20 minutes before Shabbos, and she goes, "I just need to make like 2 or 3 desserts." It's like, no, you can't.
Where were you till now?
Exactly. No, but COVID has been. It feels like we've now been past it for a while. It's still around. People are still getting sick, and hopefully they'll get better. But for a while, we were just with ourselves. So it's nice to come back to the community, coming to shul, being able to spend a lot of time in shul. And sometimes we host her family. Her sister comes over a lot, my wife's sister. And we just try to make it like a good day for the kids and, unplug a little bit.
That's not how Shabbat used to look in your previous life.
Right.
Or
so
in the beginning.
I guess I should start by saying I was always raised Jewish. I was never raised anything else. I had a certain situation at the very beginning of my life where I had a bris at 8 days. My parents had a Jewish wedding, but the way that my mom did her conversion, because her mother wasn't Jewish, it was not like the full Orthodox conversion. So to make sure, my father took me to a Beit Din in White Plains, New York, took me to a mikveh, and got paperwork for it. And much later in my life, when I started wanting to come to a minyan, the rabbi actually asked to see the paperwork. So I'm glad he had it. I'm serious.
So you're saying you're a certified Jew?
I'm a certified.
Yeah.
I can't escape it.
Dan, I came to the shul in 2012, and you were already here in the shul. Mm-hmm. I think you were here before me. I don't know how much before, but you were already...
Not much. 2012? Not 2012. Much. Not much.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember you just got married. I think you didn't have a kid yet.
No,
not yet.
Right.
You just got married, and I think we started a minyan over here.
Yeah.
Right before Sandy.
Yes.
We started a minyan.
What do you mean you started a minyan over
We
here?
did no. We
were
had
trying to have a daily minyan, I think.
Daily.
You're talking about
Yes.
weekdays.
Weekdays. We started it. Remember that? Yeah. We even had like a little coffee fund and stuff like that. If you remember that.
Yeah.
We were, and Sandy hit us maybe 2 weeks later on. But we kept
it going.
We kept it going through Sandy.
Through Sandy, when there was no electricity, there was a minyan here.
Yes.
But now we have full electricity.
Yes.
AC working. Dry floor, we can't have a minyan. We really have a minyan on Sundays.
What happened? We got Listen, believe it or not, it used to be worse. So we're in a good spot right now.
Yeah.
We're in a good spot.
So
we used to have trouble Shabbat to have a minyan.
No, Shabbos never.
Yeah.
Rabbi Cohen always got a minyan on Shabbos.
No, Shabbos we had we tried to do the weekdays. Sunday to Thursday basically.
Yeah.
Well, it worked. It worked for a while. Well, when the shul got back to its normalcy, and it stopped working for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Right?
We were having the
problem
minyan in the living room.
We were upstairs. We were in the rabbi's living room, and the bottom floor was wrecked.
Yeah. We made it through the Sandy and everything, and it was a tough time for the shul.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, but you know
what? We're here in Baal Teshuvah Express.
Yes.
So we need to hear problems that Baal Teshuvah have.
No.
Sandy was a problem everybody had.
Yes. But the thing is, I brought it up because I remember you telling me a little bit about yourself, and I remember your journey.
Yeah.
You know, and how you went through different spiritual experiences in your life.
Sure.
You know, it was a while ago. You told me. I don't remember. Can you remind us, please?
Absolutely,
You know?
absolutely. Well, one of the things that
Yeah.
you know, I always admire the people that they get on the path of like coming back to Judaism because they have like a near-death experience. Because that sounds like an awesome story.
Sounds like fun, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever watched this guy Alon Anava? He was a guest speaker on one of our cruise and schmoozes, and he had an actual he actually died.
Yes, I
And
heard about it. Yeah.
he said that he went basically to a place of judgment, and like people were saying like, he didn't really do so much good stuff, and they sent him back. But the way that he tells it, it was like an hour and a half of like 5 minutes of him not being alive. Anyway, that's unrelated. So, but most of the time, the
that
story
did not happen.
That did not happen to me. So, but I'm
Unfortunately.
saying most of the time, the story of how someone decides that this is the right path for them, it's much more mundane and it's much more step by step.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's usually boring.
I'm going to try to not be boring.
Okay.
I like I said, I was raised in a Jewish home. We always had Hanukkah, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Pesach, the basics. Like, you know, we would have a meal. We would go to shul twice a year. I went to Sunday school, got my bar mitzvah there. And
Twice a year they went to shul. We go 3 times a day.
yeah, I know. It was different. It was very different. It was a Reform temple. I learned how to read Hebrew phonetically, thank God, which is great. I learned enough for my bar mitzvah. And I even kept going to Sunday school after my bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
But what they teach you, at least in this shul, what they teach you in Reform temple, it's like very, very watered down. And it's like, I remember, let's just say like this. No, there wasn't a sukkah in the basement. Let's just say like this. I used to bring ham sandwiches as my snack to Reform temple. Right? So it kind of gives you a sense. And, you know, the rabbi of blessed memory, Rabbi Akrish, he was Moroccan, and he became a Reform rabbi. He was, you know, that was his thing. But he was a sweet man. I always remember him fondly. Anyway, I got to college. And you know how they say, like, your brain goes through development? Yeah. Like,
not my brain. I mean, my brain just
you're
stopped
still, well,
working
there's still hope for you. I just want you to know. Your brain continues to develop even into your 80s, so you have time.
Maybe one day.
So I felt like there was a part of my brain that when I got to college, and it wasn't the drugs, although there was drugs. It wasn't the drugs that like switched on. Like I was very curious about spirituality.
Tell us about the drugs. Let's talk about the drugs.
There wasn't. I mean, it wasn't
He's talking
crazy.
about
drugs.
Tylenol, Advil,
Drugs.
and stuff
Normal,
like that.
You know, I did a normal amount of drugs for a college. And I felt like a part of my brain switched on.
The rabbi said it needs to be kids protecting this.
Yeah, you can bleep that.
Okay,
you can bleep that part.
Yeah.
So I became interested in spirituality, and I started seeking, like that. You know, that attitude of like seeking truth. You know, so I was looking at all kinds of different spiritual traditions and different rituals and things like that. And I got pretty far away from Judaism, and I could tell after a certain point that it was really, really killing my dad, because he, even though he's not very strict or observant or whatever, I mean, you just have to look at his face. This guy is a Jew through and through.
Yes,
you know, like it's part of who he is, and he felt like me turning my back on that was really problematic. So I remember there was one year, it was probably 2007, 2008, he took me to a Chabad in New Jersey for Yom Kippur. We visited with one of my mom's friends. And the rabbi told the famous Yom Kippur story of the Acher. You know about this story, right? Well, it's basically, make a long story short, it's a guy who was a rabbi, you know, during the time of, you know, the Gemara or something like that. And he's walking with another rabbi. And this guy became an apikoros. He basically said, an apikoros is someone who believes in the Torah and God, right, and still goes against it, right? That's technically what it is.
Okay,
I'm asking you.
Apikoros is somebody that doesn't believe that there's a God in general.
Oh, really? Well,
That's
whatever.
what I thought.
Anyway,
I
I don't know
wrong.
what type of disbelief it was, but anyway, he turned his back on Judaism 100%.
Oh.
And he's riding his horse, and I think it was Shabbos.
Yeah.
But his friend, who was still a rabbi, was walking with him. And they came to the distance that's allowed to walk out of the city during Shabbat. Yeah. And he said, I can't go any further. And he says to the guy on the horse, basically, in so many words, you can always return, kind of. And it's like a famous story that you tell on Yom Kippur. Like, no matter how far away you are, you could still come back. And then I started picking up pamphlets when we were leaving and getting into it. And at the time, I was living in Astoria, and my dad and I went to a Sukkot thing by a Chabad Shliach, who's now my very good friend, Zev Weinberg. Yeah. And I met him, and you know how sometimes you meet someone and you're like, we're probably going to be really good friends. Yeah. And then that happened.
So you had like an instant click, basically.
I think so. Zev could tell me if we didn't, but I started coming to him almost every Shabbat.
Oh, wow.
For years. Then I met my wife. Then we started coming here. and then when we were engaged to be married, we went to Mayanot for a summer in Jerusalem, which was helpful. Yeah. And it just started from there. And then it was like I realized everything that I was looking for from spirituality was in my own tradition.
Now, you're this might be too personal. You'll let me know. But how is your father with what happened with that? Is he upset that he started that?
I think
journey,
honestly, there's been a couple times in the last 10 years maybe where he felt it was like he might have said something like you're taking it too far or something like that. But I don't think so. And
you don't think he regrets?
I don't think so. And I think he loves having Jewish grandchildren. He loves having like the things that he does do when he comes, like he came here into the sukkah and
it was about
you met his father?
Yeah, I made sure he came on the first
mother,
day. Yeah. And so they're very cool with it, and like they still have food in their house that we don't eat. I don't push on them. I'm not going to push on them. And we lived with them during COVID, and we made it work. It was what it was.
It worked.
They're still my parents. I love them, and
of course,
which is hard. That's hard. By the way, no one tells you that as you get older, you think like, okay, I became a child, now I'm an adult. Now my relationship with my parents will stabilize for the rest of my life. Yeah. No one tells you that that's not true at all.
So tell me what happens to it. That's interesting. I have something to say about it. I want to hear. What happens to your relationship with your parents?
I'm saying sometimes it gets worse and better. I'm saying you just because you're an adult doesn't mean that it's going to stay the same, the relationship with your parents.
So the minute my first daughter became a teenager, my relationship with my parents, I started appreciating my parents much more. You understand where it comes from? Totally. I understand, like, oh my God, I made them go through such hard times,
Yeah.
Suddenly I started appreciating them. Call my mom every day, sometimes twice a day.
I'm probably going to move out of my house by the time my daughter turns 12, I think. I'm going to leave. I don't know where I'm going to go, but...
You're going to leave the house.
I'm going to leave. I might just become homeless. Which, by the way, depending on where you live, could be very nice.
It's not that bad.
It's not
that bad.
You live in Florida.
Nobody gives you attitude in the street. You just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah. When you have to go to the bathroom, it gets a little complicated, but that's what shul is for.
Yeah.
So how is it staying with your parents during COVID?
Yeah. That was
and not eating all the food that's on the table.
Yeah,
it was no. Listen, when I was there, I cooked. So that I made sure that I knew.
That's the answer.
That's the answer.
You brought the pots and pans.
The answer. So one of the things that I told you when you were going to start doing this series is if you're going to talk to an audience of people who are becoming different religious levels, whatever, they're going to have family members who's not on board. It's just a fact.
Yes.
So one of the things is, like I said, maybe you could have like a how-to section, and maybe you interview different rabbis and interview different real people who had this situation.
Yes.
So one of the conundrums is if you get invited to someone's house who's not kosher.
That's a white people language.
That's a word? It's white people use that?
Yeah. Okay. Predicament, is that any better?
I think for Reuven.
Predicament.
Or how about this? It's a machlokas. I don't
know. Okay, good one.
is when someone who's not kosher, who's close to you and you knew your whole life, invites you over, but you're like trying to be kosher, and you're like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I think you said the answer is, I think that you just offer to cook or offer to bring food.
Yeah. But that is the answer almost for every problem in life.
Just bring food.
It's okay. I like that. That was good. That was good. But in general, it's don't try to change people. Just do it. Right? Just do it.
Right.
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 If you don't appreciate
the
ride, bring your own car.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. That's the way it is.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you'll never win people over, even in your own family, even just to get to a point where they're like okay with your choices, unless you're showing them a good example.
Dan, how about the in-laws? Do you want to talk about them? No, meaning the food. The food.
No, the truth is, I have a very good relationship.
No.
with my wife's
I mean, when
family.
it comes to food,
I have a great relationship.
And food. No, also food. Also
guys,
there.
I need to interrupt. I have a very good relationship with my wife's mother too.
Okay.
Okay. She's not alive for the last 18 years.
Right.
But we never fight. We never argue.
Oh,
So how could your relationship be that good? With
listen. I always say people are like,
they
you speak
speak
Russian but people think
I was
I'm
about to
Russian.
say you guys speak a different language.
So people come to me and they think they start speaking to me in Russian, which in this neighborhood is pretty normal. It probably happens to you too. And
less to me, more to my wife.
Right. And they just start speaking Russian. And at this point, I understand like a decent amount, but I always tell people I learned enough Russian to know when my mother-in-law is talking about me, which she doesn't. But I have a great relationship with them. And my father-in-law, he is from Skvir in Ukraine. Skvira.
Oh, wow.
Which is Skver.
New Square.
Yeah, it's New Square. So he, amazingly, and he's in his 50s, had a bris because his grandfather was a secret moil in the Soviet Union.
Wow.
So he had a bris at the right time.
Wow.
And I think it's funny because he always loves, whenever we bring him to something, he loves Yiddishkeit 100%.
Yeah.
He just doesn't take on so much himself, but what he does for a job is he drives a car.
Mm-hmm.
And he drives around, his main clients are Borough Park Hasidim.
Yeah.
So we used to joke, because I lived in Olga's house for a little while before we got married. I lived in the basement before we got married. And we used to joke on Shabbat, he would come home on Friday night and take off his kippah, and I would come home from work on Friday and put on my kippah.
Use the same kippah, basically. Right?
Yeah, right. We could add one kippah. That's funny. No, but there were some tension points, but I think we're all at a good place because they realize we're not like. I'm not like. Actually, no, that's not true. I am brainwashing my kids. I'm brainwashing my kids in the right way. I'm brainwashing them how to be good people and how to do mitzvahs and help people.
Yeah.
That is brainwashing. Yeah. And if you want to call it brainwashing, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm not like trying to.
He's in defense mode. You sound like you're in defense mode.
I'm just saying. People say, "Oh, you're brainwashing." People. That's one of the things that family members say when someone becomes more religious.
Yeah.
True. Right.
Yeah.
You're brainwashed. You're brainwashed. Yeah, I am brainwashed. I need to wash my brain.
How much time do you waste a day on Judaism?
Waste? God forbid.
I got him started.
God forbid. What does that mean? What does that even mean?
What does your day look like? What does your day look like? What does your
day look
like?
As far as what? As far as Judaism you call it?
Morning.
As far as Judaism you
call
it?
I see. No, okay.
Altogether, everything.
So the question is.
Yeah.
You have a job.
The question,
you do something.
Yeah.
Now you have Judaism in it. And it all gets mixed up. And what's more important than what you do?
Yeah.
The question, I think, what you're asking is, when you're someone who has a job and a career, but you also have these obligations that you're supposed to do as a Jewish person who's trying to push themselves to whatever, how do you balance it? And what does that look like? Totally. Well, I have to say, after this Tishrei, I'm in a good place right now. Before I was like, whatever, that's the other thing too, because you grew up in a religious home, right? So how you just get bored of it sometimes?
Yeah, for sure, yes.
Oh, and that's another thing. That's another thing I wanted to talk to you about. You should make a video about this.
Okay.
A lot of the friends that I met along the way of my journey of becoming more religious were people who grew up religious who were becoming less religious, and we would meet in the middle.
Yeah. That's how you cross the path, basically.
And, hold on. So, yeah, I mean, right now it's like, I'm trying to work on one thing right now, which is washing my hands in the morning as soon as I wake up.
Yeah.
Which sounds like I know you're supposed to do that,
Yeah.
but I didn't do that for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do that. And I'm also trying to, even when I'm not with a Binyan, at least try to daven 3 times a day. I'm trying.
The cup next to your bed, or you have to?
I've just started doing this. After Teshuvah, I was like, I think this is the thing I need to do to like set my day on the right note.
Absolutely.
And so far,
so you daven usually without a minyan in the weekdays, right?
In the morning, I'm on my computer all day.
You do it at home or in the
usually I have like a little spot. I have like actually I have this stender that my grandfather got. It was a dictionary stand.
Oh, wow.
And he got it, and I got it from his house when he passed away.
Oh,
so
wow.
I used that. I don't know how happy he would be. He was a big atheist. He was like he was Jewish, but he was like very, very, he thought that God was a joke. Like that God was like a hoax.
You say
pulled on people
you
for
don't know
all
how happy it is that you're using his stender for.
I don't know. I mean,
I think he's happy. Over there, he knows the truth already.
I have like 3 pictures in my office, like on the shelf, and they're all of him.
Your office.
In my house, and it's like 3 memories of him. One is we were on a boat in Belize, in the jungle, in Guatemala or Belize, I don't remember where, and it's like him and his wife, who was his second, he got remarried when he was 80 years old, okay?
Oh my goodness.
This guy's a legend. And it was just a picture of them that's really nice. Then there's 2 pictures of him climbing.
Reuven, don't wait till you're 80.
He was in his mid-90s, and we were traveling.
Mid-90s,
and he was climbing. One is to the top of a pyramid in Tikal, Guatemala, this is like probably 1,000 steps or something. And he climbed to the top with the king.
In the mid-90s? In the mid-90s?
He was in his mid-90s, yeah.
He did that in the mid-90s?
Yes.
Wow.
And then there was another picture of him climbing up to the tallest point in the Galapagos Islands, where he also took me. And I remember I walked with him on that, and it was like, it wasn't easy for him. He wasn't like running up the steps. It took time. And about halfway up, he was like, I want you to know that I'm doing this just to show you that I could do it. Wow. And I was like, wow, I never forgot that.
Wow.
So, I don't know. Anyway, what else? What did I don't know, am I doing what we're supposed to be doing?
No, we're good.
I think you're doing great. I was just going to say.
The only thing, I'm still stuck on the Moroccan guy who became a Reform rabbi. He must have had a near-death experience today. I don't know.
That's perfect. That's perfect, man. Yeah, awesome.
I was going to wrap it up and say, I see you come from a family of crazy people.
Yes.
Your grandfather was definitely a little crazy.
Yeah.
And we see it in you too.
Yeah.
And we're happy about that.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
And one thing I wanted to ask you, Dan, before we wrap up. Message. What kind of message would you send to somebody who is already on a journey or is looking to be on a journey about Teshuvah? What message would you send to people?
I think it's the message that I started out with, and I'll just say it a little bit slightly different way, is that people get excited about Yiddishkeit initially.
Yeah.
And then they realize that it's like a life commitment, and it's not just like, oh, I quit smoking for life, or, oh, I changed my diet for my life. It's like every single aspect of your entire life is influenced by Jewish wisdom.
Yeah.
And then once they realize that, and they start keeping things that maybe they don't fully get yet or whatever, because I believe in that. I believe that sometimes you have to take on a mitzvah even if you don't fully grasp it. Yeah. And there's some mitzvahs that aren't logical. Yeah. It says that in the Torah.
Yeah.
So then the passion starts to die down, and then they fry out.
Okay.
And they leave it. They go back to what they thought was real life, which is eating whatever you want.
Yeah.
Meeting with whoever you want.
Because it's easier.
Spending your time doing whatever you want.
Yeah.
And they think that that's their real life.
Yeah.
But I guess my message is just like, for people who are learning about Judaism and trying to get closer, just take your time. And realize that something you might start doing now, it might not make sense to you for a year from now, 5 years from now, and in my case, 10 years. Like, I'm serious, 10 years, I've been doing this, over 10 years. Thank God I have an awesome wife and a great family, like, supportive, but some things, like, it's just starting to make sense to me now. So, and look at all the people in our show. We have people from different ages
Yes,
who
yes.
became connected at different ages.
Different
Look at Velvo.
ages. Yes.
60
Absolutely.
years old.
Who? Well?
Yeah, he didn't start coming to shul until he was 60 years old.
Okay. No. Yeah.
No, he's 83 now. I'm
83
saying.
now. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
had a second bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
But I guess that would be my message. You know,
Okay.
just to take your time and make sure that you are not alienating the people that are already close to you.
Okay.
You will become closer to people that you might not even know yet, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
Think about all the
absolutely.
people that you became close to because they're
Yeah.
part of your shul
Yeah.
community or whatever.
Yes.
But that's the stuff that matters. All this COVID nonsense, it's like, it made us realize what's important.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's not
Yeah.
what you see in the news.
Definitely.
And I work in the news.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, Habibi. So we're gonna sit here and hang out now and eat some papitas, right?
The sidekick.
No, I'm gonna be the guy with the drum. Because he knows he got the jokes, you know.